Hi, my name is Luis Oliveira, and I'm here to present the poster for the Medication List app project. The goal for this project was to go through all the steps of designing an application following usability and user-centered design principles. We went through the following steps. Initial user analysis, which was interviewing potential users to inquire about wishes and functionality that should be included in the app. Then an initial static wireframe, which was a very basic look at how the application would look later. Then we conduct contextual inquiry models, creating the flow model and the sequence model. Next step was go through task and function analysis, and then create an initial prototype using the prototyping tool Axure. After that, we sent the prototype for usability evaluation conducted by our peers and the instructor. And then finally, we redesigned the app based on the feedback received. First, let's talk about the MedList application. It was basically an app that was, the scope was narrowed to be a medication list for the patient. So somebody that was either a patient or a caregiver of somebody to keep track of medication. It is a read-only application, meaning that we have no functionality for entering or update data. It's supposed to be basically getting from the personal medical record systems. And the application will display basic information and will allow the user to somehow click and get more information of specific meds. So if you look at the initial prototype on the bottom left, you see that the application has a header with some information about the patient, including a picture, and then a list with all the medications, the dosage, and what the condition of the medication is for, as well as basic instructions. And the prototype would also allow somebody to click in one specific med and get all the medication details available for that specific selection. During the usability evaluation, we get a lot of feedback from the classmates and instructors. And here's a little summary. First thing was there was too much information. Some of the data elements that were listed were not relevant for a patient. They might be relevant for a provider, but not necessarily for a patient. Then the design was not suited for a multi-device world. As you can see, most of the applications these days are used on mobile device, phones or tablets. And this application was really, our look and feel was more suited for a desktop application. So we needed to consider on the design that the application will be used needs to be mobile device friendly. Also, avoid duplicated and inconsistent notation. There was some places where the same information was presented twice using different names. Also, avoid medical terminology, since the application is geared towards a patient. Needs to use terms that are familiar to the patient, not to the providers. And then clearly separate active and inactive medications. On the prototype, I was using just boldface font to separate an active medication from an inactive medication. So based on the feedback, I established some guidelines for my redesign. The first one was change design to be more like a phone app, and that would imply narrowing the display area dramatically. Also avoid or eliminate completely the table style look, and then use buttons that are typically associated with mobile apps. Also eliminate redundant information, use patient-friendly terminology, and create separate screens for active and inactive medication. You can see the result here under the Final Version tab. And you can see that the overall design is much better suited for mobile devices. There's no more horizontal scrolling. Everything looks more like a phone app. I removed it pretty much almost everything from the header, just left the name of the person. Removed the footer completely. Separated current and past meds. So now if you touch on or click on taking now, you will see the current meds. If you click on past meds, you will see the inactive meds. And also for each row, I simplified the display. It looks more like a phone app with the box look as opposed to table-like look on the other one. There are down and arrows to indicate that the user can click or touch on that and obtain more information. And when it's more information, you can also use the same click or touch to hide that again. And I used different fonts to highlight the medication name and dosage from the additional information. and even use colors to indicate when a medication is due for renewal within the near future. So this is the final version. I think it was a very interesting process where we went through different phases and gradually changing the look and feel of the application. And if you look at the initial prototype and the final version, they look completely different. And I really appreciate the feedback from all my colleagues and from the instructor. Thank you.